And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside Los
Angeles. I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to The Bald Truth. Phone number 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Great to be here. Another Sunday with you guys, live from Los Angeles, and of course, coast to coast and worldwide on the internet. My headphones are a little wacky. Look, this is The Bald Show. If you're new to the broadcast, don't know who I am or why I'm here, that's what it is. 2/3 of you by the age of 35 will suffer with some degree of hair loss. 40% of hair loss sufferers are women. And the reason I'm able to do this broadcast every Sunday for the last 14 years is because 200,000 hair loss sufferers wake up every day wondering, what the F am I going to do? Where am I going to turn? Holy shit, I'm losing my hair. And honestly, it's tragic. You know, for those who don't understand hair loss, for those who haven't lost any hair yet, sadly, it's a ticking time bomb. Most of us will deal with some degree of hair loss in our lifetime. Sadly, some of us end up losing hair earlier than others. I began the hair loss process at the age of 21. And if you're looking at me right now, I'm almost 47 years old. And I've been lucky enough to slow the progression of my hair loss over the years using FDA, I'm spitting all over the mic, FDA-approved medication, some cosmetic concealer, and a lot of hairspray. But I will tell you that if I did not have the wherewithal to make the right moves, to make the decisions that afforded me to be in this position, who knows where I would have been emotionally and hair-wise. But for those of you who don't understand what it's like to deal with hair loss, it's a big deal. You know, with a person's hairline, as their hairline erodes, at least at the beginning, and for many of us throughout our lives, so does our self-esteem. And it takes a lot to come to grips with it, to come to terms with it, to understand how to deal with it emotionally. And especially during the initial throes of hair loss, this is when we are most vulnerable. This is when this $3.5 billion a year industry can so easily take advantage of us. The reason I do what I do is because I am a hair loss sufferer who dealt with this at a young age and who bought everything, subscribed to everything, tried everything except for surgery and the hairpiece at the time. I have tried hair in my later years. But I tried everything and spent a lot of money. And sadly, I was ripped off. I was conned. I was misled. And that is still happening to so many people today. This is what this broadcast is all about. We're here to guide you in a safe direction, to talk about everything and anything hair loss, but it's not a program that sells any products or services. We don't sell anything here. I don't sell anything directly to the public except, you know, if you buy my books, you're buying them from my publishers. That's it. I don't sell any products. I don't sell any services. I make no kickbacks for promoting anything specifically. I make no money from pharmaceutical companies. Let me give out the phone number, 888-659-3727. I should put up the lower third. There you go. I just ran into the studio I don't know where the hell Andrew Zarian is. I'm very worried, as a matter of fact, Suncast. So maybe you should call him. This is not like him, not to be on top of things. I had to have Suncast remotely hook up to me through the internet so that he can stream the program on services like Ustream.tv and Justin TV and on iTunes Radio, GFQLive.tv, and all over the internet. I stream directly through Stickam and through thebaldtruth.com, but we are syndicated internationally by the GFQ network. So I'm a little worried about Andrew Zarian. I hope everything is okay over there. Let me give out the phone number, 888-659-3727. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I just ran into the studio. I had a really busy day. Beautiful Sunday here in Southern California, by the way. It really makes you, when you have a day like this, and we have a lot of beautiful days. Most days are really nice. But, I mean, you really thank God for what you have. And what I try to do, and what I try to tell all of my listeners and my readers and my viewers, is to try to enjoy life for what it is. My whole goal has always been to somehow try to feel comfortable in my own skin, even though this has happened to me. And to realize, and I know that Joe from Staten Island is going to disagree, that this is not cancer. This is not losing a limb. Yes, it's very serious, and that's why I built my career around this. Hair loss and hair is a huge part of our identity. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If you're a young guy, and if you're a young woman especially, dealing with hair loss, you are going to be looked at differently. You are going to be treated differently, sadly. You are going to be rejected by certain people in life, sexual partners and, intimate partners. But there are ways to get past it. And the truth of the matter is, as a hair loss sufferer, you kind of figure, you kind of know who your friends are early on. And you also kind of figure out, you become a better judge of character. And you start to realize what's really important in life. 888-659-3727. My comb over looks solid today. It's very plasticky. You know what? Let's get right to the phones. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Spencer, I've been affiliated with you and the Bold Truth for 14 years now. And this week, I finally came to a tragic realization.
Yeah, what's that realization?
As you know, and your staff probably is aware of, I was viciously attacked on abaldtruth.com this week. I'm sure you're aware of that.
You were viciously attacked?
Yes, I was.
By
and
who?
as I can imagine, you deal with this on a daily basis probably 100 times what I experienced this week. And all I could say is, man, I know you're ready to go, but please hang in there for a couple more years until this cure to this devastating disease. Let me reiterate that. This devastating disease is cured, man. We need you. We need you so desperately, my friend. Please help us. Please, God. Please help us, my friend.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
My name is excuse me. My name is
Would you like to may I reiterate it?
My name is
Have you heard it? Excuse me.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
Joe, first of all, I want you to know that I'm not going anywhere. And yes, I am used to the haters. I embrace the haters. I've had people, defame me on the internet and, make up all kinds of crazy stories. But this has kind of been like, it's just part of the gig. While it's really distressing at times. And there's no doubt that I have been damaged by this over the years and currently. You kind of realize that when you put yourself out there and you're successful in any way in this life, you are going to have detractors. And you just have to deal with them in the best way that you can. Joe, you are out there now. You've been out there for 14 years. You're more public as far as the online world because of the fact that we're archiving the program, the fact that we're streaming it live on video. So more people are learning about you and watching you and listening to you than ever before. So you're going to have your detractors. And let's face it, Joe, you also have your fans. So you got to take the good with the bad.
No, I'm actually flattered by it that people attack me, which means I've achieved some modicum of success.
Yes.
And actually, I'm on the other forums now. I don't mention their names. They're also attacking me now on the other forums.
Oh, good for you.
I appreciate it.
No, listen, there's certain things that I cannot speak about at this point, but I know exactly. Exactly how it feels. It really depends on the viciousness of it. I don't think anyone has really been vicious towards you, Joe. I think they've just been critical, and there's a difference.
Yes, you're probably. You know what? You're right about that. But I mean, how you deal with this every day, man? I would have been institutionalized already. You deal with hundredfold with what I've seen this week.
It's called Jack Daniels, my friend. No, honestly, it's called just dealing with it. Every day when I go to work, and I've done this for years, I put on my sword and I put on my shield and I can't speak. I pick up my shield and I put on my shield and I pick up my sword. You know what? I do need a drink. And I go to work and I do what I have to do. And that's it. Being a consumer advocate, being a hair loss educator, doing what I do in this industry, and making a living doing it, is not easy, but you're always going to have some crazy people out there, some crazy detractors, and that's just the way that it is. Joe, welcome to my world. You haven't even gotten a taste of it yet.
I got a small taste this week, man, and I don't know how you're not institutionalized, man. I'll be honest with you.
You know how? I exercise. I try to swim a lot. I try to take care of myself the best that I can. I enjoy partying every once in a while, having good meals, spending a lot of time with my beautiful and lovely common-law wife, and just doing the best that I can, man. I live day by day. That's it.
Yeah, man, I finally realized what you deal with every day, and thank you, Spencer. That's all I can say. It hit me like a brick wall this week, and I finally realized what you deal with every day.
Well, look, man, it is what it is. For the most part, I'm not complaining. There's certain things that I cannot complain about on the air, and I choose not to.
Yeah.
But listen, let's get back. Let's get on track. Let's talk about what's happening this week in hair loss, which is really not a heck of a lot. And by the way, I got a call from Replicel about the interview. You guys have actually said hold off on the interview until April.
No, I'm not one including that.
So I'm kind of like, you know what? I got a lot of shit to do. It takes up my time, whether it's live or if I have to do it, if I have to record it, I have to edit it. If you guys only want one, I'll do one. That's it. It's up to you guys. You guys let me know.
Well, my opinion is do whatever's convenient for you, my friend. That's all I could say. Because you so busy as it is, whatever's good for you, that's what you do.
Well, I will. I absolutely will.
Okay, as you know, Replicel is all over Facebook this week. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yeah. Go ahead. Tell us.
To me, that's a very positive sign. If they wouldn't be over Facebook, they're recruiting for phase 2 trials if they don't know something that we don't know. That's my expert opinion. I had no inside information as my detractors have accused me of.
Yeah. Well, I know you don't have any inside information, and honestly, neither do I.
I know that.
The only inside information I have is, there's certain things we can't talk about and make public at this point. I may have some inside information as far as what's happening in the world of surgical hair restoration, and that people are contact me and say, listen, we want to give you an interview. There's some exciting stuff happening. We can't disclose that to you now, but as soon as we're ready. And there are times when people will grant me an interview a few days before they want it released, and I may have that inside information for a day or two, but it's not something that I'm holding close to my vest.
Oh, it's close to your best. Give it to me. Make a few bucks out of it.
You got it.
I'm only kidding. Now, seriously, people have been spreading rumors through other forums that I've stated that Replicel regrows 25% of hair. I never said that. I said if they could regrow 25% of hair, to me that's amazing, because 25% of hair, I know it's 6, is about, let's say about 15,000 hairs, which is about 8,000 grafts, which to me is pretty amazing in itself.
Well,
you know?
But the numbers don't make sense as far as, it's not as though it's only going to be able to grow up to 25% of your hair back. That's not the way it would work. They just don't understand how many injections it's going to take, you know, to grow, you know, past the 20% mark or 25% mark or 15% mark. But in time, if they're able to grow hair, they will in time be able to grow it all over your scalp. You guys have to understand that. I see these percentages and I see people debating about it. You know what? The information is going to be here soon. And I can guarantee you that it's not going to be a complete picture. But at least we're going to have more information. And hopefully it's going to build even more excitement. And hopefully we're not let down.
Right. Well, now on the chat room, I'm seeing hair loss sufferers saying 25, 30%. All due respect, guys, no one knows nothing. I never said 25%. I don't know anything. But if it was 25%, that would be great.
Yeah.
Better than anything on the market today.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, these cats, they spread all these rumors. And I have to castigate someone saying, I really don't want to do it, but I have to do it.
Yeah.
I was forced to do it, Spencer. Could you forgive me?
Go ahead.
I have to castigate a young lady on the forum.
Which lady?
Respectfully, as a woman, I don't mean to castigate her, but I respectfully disagree with her. How does that sound?
That sounds good. Who is it?
I think you know who it is. Tracy.
How can you castigate Tracy?
I'm not castigating her. I respectfully disagree with her.
I mean, this woman spends so much time doing her best to try to give back and help other hair loss sufferers. And for the most part, I would say she gives completely factual information. I'm not the biggest fan of low-level laser light therapy at this point, but you know, I know that she is, and she seems to be getting good results with it. So I mean, that's great. She could pass that information on to others. But I mean, she does the right thing, man. I read her posts, and I'm pretty impressed.
Well, are you looking at the chat room now, Spencer? Here we go. You ready?
Yeah, let me see. What's going on?
Look at the chat room, man. Here we go. Can I say why the hell get my defense now?
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
You reviewing the chat room with your staff? You reviewing the chat room now?
I'm looking at it right now, yes.
Okay, you see, here we go. Like Tracy, you know, Tracy castigated me last week on thebaldtruth.com when I equated cancer with hair loss.
Well, I do all the time. I don't agree with you, Joe.
Well, let me explain why. Could I get that?
Yeah.
Why I say that?
Go ahead.
If you don't mind. I'm not saying a fatal form of cancer. I'm saying if I could be, my body could be injected with a treatable form of cancer where I receive chemotherapy or radiation for a year and then go on to live a normal life for the next 30 years, 40 years with a full head of hair, I would take the injection.
Well, let me tell you.
What's so wrong with that? What's so wrong with that, my friend?
Well, let me give you, you know, today, someone that I wasn't extremely close to, but who definitely touched our lives, passed away of cancer. She's 41 years old.
Sorry to hear that. Tragic, yes.
Her name was Val, and she's someone who worked in this industry and was probably one of the kindest, gentlest, just wonderful people that I've ever met. And this is a woman who definitely did not deserve to get sick and die. And there are people out there who are truly evil that, you know, I kind of wish could have taken her place. So, you know, when I hear you say that, you know, yes, I guess I can kind of understand your analogy and what you're trying to explain, but the truth is, the truth about cancer is you never know if you're cured. There's really not necessarily a cure. People are always living with cancer once they get cancer. It may not be visible, but there's always a chance of, you know, after remission, a chance of it, coming back or spreading. It's a scary, scary process that I think that, you know, if someone who's dealing with hair loss ends up having to deal with cancer, they kind of can put things into perspective. But with that said, I have spoken to people who have gone through, guys who have gone through like testicular cancer, who said that dealing with their hair loss was even more painful. So I guess I kind of get it, for sure, but we need to put things into perspective. And I understand where Tracy's coming from, and I understand where you're coming from. You know, you're kind of like a polarizing figure in this field, Joe.
Yes, I've got that impression.
Yeah. So anyway, so listen, let me take another phone call.
But do you understand? Give me 30 seconds, please. Do you understand the point I'm trying to make? I'm not saying a terminal cancer, a treatable cancer.
Yeah. Oh, all right. So maybe like a basal cell carcinoma. I understand that.
If I could do it, my mother's been a cancer victim. She survived 25 years ago from breast cancer.
Right.
If I could be injected with cancer, it could be cured within a year, and live the rest of my life with a full head of hair, and live a quality of life, I would take the injection tomorrow.
Okay.
So all my detractors out there, I'm sorry. I disagree with you guys.
All right. Well, Arista wants to drop the issue, and so do I. I'm going to take another phone call. I'm going to put you on hold for a sec, all right?
Thank you, man.
Go battle out in the forum. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. Give us a call here at the Bald Truth. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, this is Brian from L.A., the actor I called you a couple weeks ago.
Hey, Brian. What's happening? How are you?
Not bad, man. I got to say, I got to castigate all the castigation that's going on in here. We're going to be a big contraption and shoot it away. Got to get all this castigating done with.
All right. I hear you, man.
Because I don't want to bring it back up, but Joe, I love you. You got to stay positive, man. And really, the best bet is just to drop this whole cancer thing and versus bald thing. Because basically what you're asking for when you say, I'll take a treatable cancer, you're picking and choosing your cancer. That's not how cancer works at all. And I had a girlfriend who had leukemia, and it's terrible. It really is. And chemotherapy is not pleasant at all. So let's just forget about this cancer thing, and let's just concentrate on the topic at hand, and you'll be cool. Because I worry about Joe's, his personality. I want to take him away somewhere and like show him the world and make him feel happy, and bald or not bald. But I mean, like, I don't know if you're cut out for this, Joe, because you're going to hear a lot of people hitting you up on there, and this is just the beginning. And you got to stay strong, man.
Let me tell you, bro, I've been trying to do that for Joe for the last 14 years. I have not been able to accomplish that. So I don't know what's going to happen with Joe, but I mean, he is who he is, and that's it.
My heart bleeds for him. I mean, Joe, I got to say to everybody out there, I'm not like your biggest fan, but I don't sit there and go against everything you say, but I feel for you, and as a human being, I'm reaching out to you and let you know that I'm on your side, man, and I care about you as a person, and I want you not to let these things get you down. Don't let these people get you down. They're going to say a lot of stuff. I have videos on YouTube, people posting all sorts of crazy crap on there. You just like Spencer says, you got to take the bad with the good, and try to let that stuff go. But
I think that's great advice, man.
Yeah, and I'm calling today because we were talking about Propecia and how I got a prescription, and when I went and looked at the price, I was really, upset. I was like, man, I just got a really good deal on a car, and now my car, I looked at it, I taxed it on to the payments of my car, and I was just like, I don't know, that's too much, and so I started doing my homework, and I don't know if you heard about this. I'm kind of hesitant to say it over the air, but you helped me, so I want to help other people. But I don't know if you've heard about, there's a generic version of Proscar out there that you can get very, very cheap and inexpensive. And I was wondering if you knew about it and what you thought about it.
Well, listen, if you go into your drugstore and you can get a generic form of Proscar and cut it up into quarters, I'm all for it. The only reason I don't go on a generic form of finasteride is because I started with the brand name. And so I'm sticking with it. It worked for me. But, in most cases, generics, especially if it's coming from a good company, and you know that you're getting it from a U.S. pharmacy, you're probably in pretty good shape.
Okay. Yeah, it's a big chain. It's a big chain, and
you can go to Walgreens or I mean I think you can get a generic Proscar for something like $12 a month or $9 a month, depending on And so I mean, absolutely. I mean, how long have you been on Propecia? Did you start it?
Well, I just got the prescription when I called you. Before I went on it, I wanted to talk to you about it and get some more, things. So then I delayed it a week or two because of this price, and then I found the generic. I've just been on it for a week. I haven't felt any testicular pain or anything. I feel fine.
Yeah, and you know what? It's possible that, the testicular pain is extremely common, and sometimes it happens, a few weeks in, but it is nothing, in my view. It's, again, this is my opinion, and sometimes I get in a lot of trouble for just stating my opinion about finasteride, but I've had an incredible experience with it. I have had some of the testicular pain, early on in treatment. It only lasted for a very short time. But usually I would say that 99.9% of the guys that don't experience side effects within the first week will not experience any side effects. So I think you're pretty safe.
Okay, all right. Well, I started some Kegel exercises too, because
well,
I was like,
that's always good.
I'm gonna start paying attention down there and doing the best I can, because I got one of them brains that all this talk about it, I don't want it to start making me worry too much. So I was like, I started reading about different things, and I don't know.
Look, dude, I'm telling you, don't even worry about it. You're still going to be able to walk around with wet towels hanging, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's not. Don't let your mind get the best of you. I'm telling you, I've been on this drug for 17 years, and there's not a person in my life, older guys who have been on this drug for over a decade, who have had any issues. Now, this is just my personal life. And forget about the thousands of people who have contacted me over the years. And when my book first came out, and it became an international bestseller, do you know how many people contacted me initially before the internet was really, it was really in its infancy, wrote me snail mail and, email and contacted me to thank me because they didn't even know about the drug. Merck was not really advertising that much. They advertised a little bit. They all had positive experiences. Now, I'm not saying that these negative experiences don't exist. They do. And I do believe there's a subset of guys who are experiencing these persistent adverse side effects. But I also think that it's a shame that so many people are being turned off to this drug that could really be life-changing for the better, that could really help people. So don't get all...
stick with it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be positive about it and stick with it. It's kind of amazing that this little pill, when you cut it up in little fourths, this little tiny dosage can help you like that. It's pretty amazing. I look at it every night and I'm like, this little tiny pebble going down.
That's right.
But I got one more thing that's going to blow you away.
Yeah.
Okay, so I called you, I guess, 3 weeks ago for the first time. And I was working, I don't know, about a week ago or so at my restaurant. And I was in the back, and I hear, like, this talk. Some people were, sitting down, and no one greeted them. So I went over to the table. I said, I got him. I went over to the table, and guess who it was?
Who?
You.
When?
I served you a week ago.
Are you kidding me?
At a steakhouse. That was me.
Holy! Why didn't you say something, dude?
Because I don't believe in that. You're there with your wife. You're having a good meal. You already had a 15 to 20 minute interlude by yourself without a server, and I was shocked because I came over. I didn't even see you, and then when I looked at you, I go, "Hi, I understand," and I started saying, "I understand." I looked at you. I'm like, "Oh my God, there's Spencer," and I was like, I mean, if you rewind time, you see him.
Dude, that's really creepy, dude. That's really creepy. You creeped me out.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to bother you. I wanted you guys to enjoy your meal, and you guys were fantastic. I don't know if you remember me, but it was Steakhouse Starts with the M.
I do remember you. Sure. I mean, you kind of decided to take the table.
Yeah. Well, when I hear stuff like that, like, I don't have faith. I used to be a server trainer. I don't have faith in people like picking up the ball and running with it. So I just went over there and I took it. They don't like to usually reward the person who already made the mistake, so they took him off.
So
the table.
that's why you were staring. That's why you were staring at my hair, dude.
You know what? It looked fantastic. It looked fantastic.
I didn't notice you staring. I'm just joking, man.
No, I don't think I did because I was pretty conscious of the situation.
Yeah.
But I was like, I was looking at you guys, and like your wife got up for a moment to go to the bathroom, and I thought, okay, I'll go tell him now. And I'm like, you know what? No, just let him have his meal and enjoy it. And
well, you know what? I really appreciate it. And next time I'm there, I want you to say hello.
Definitely will.
But I will tell you though, I'm a little upset that they stopped playing, the Frank Sinatra and stuff like that.
Oh God, dude, that's everybody's complaint. I mean, we had the jazzy Frank Sinatra for what, I don't know, 20 some odd years, and we got bought out by another company, and they just instantly took their channels and put it on ours, and that's our number one complaint, you know. And I told everybody we're gonna do a national walkout if just was on the radio, and it's almost getting there, man. It sounds like Mario Kart sometimes when you're walking around the restaurant.
Well, but I will tell you though, I mean, the place seemed a little vacuous. They took the curtains off, and you kind of see the buses going by in the big windows. Yeah, and it just it's not the same. Yeah,
they got some. There's good stuff coming.
Right.
I don't want you to be. I want you to stick around. You know. We got some really good menu items coming. I'm sorry, I don't want to take over the.
No,
thing,
it's okay, dude. This is fascinating to me and creepy at the same time. But I know you were not creepy at all. You were fantastic, and yeah, we were kind of a little like weird. You know, we weren't being served, and then everyone came over and they were very apologetic, and you did a great job.
Well, thank you. I was playing with the idea of pulling a little fight club on you, which is. You're going to a restaurant, I was going to say, don't tip. I don't want to tip. I don't want to tip. But I was like, then that would cue something that was up. And but you did, I mean, hey, to everybody listening on the radio, this guy is amazing. I mean, he should have thrown his chair at somebody, you know? And he was very polite. His wife was very kind. You guys tipped amazing. And, I mean, you didn't have to. I mean, I was, like I said, I was borderline saying you don't have to tip. In fact, next time you come, I have to tell you my name is not Brian in the restaurant. It's actually my real name. I don't know if you remember it. But if you don't, you can come in. I'll see you. I'll say hi, and we'll have a talk.
All right, man. But, listen, I would love that, and I guess the next time I won't tip since I know you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, next time I owe you. Yeah, I'm totally okay. I was playing with the idea because you helped me out and you helped a lot of people out, and I was just. What a nice guy. I mean, you don't even, there was no veins popping out of your head. The kind of stuff, it was a fine dining restaurant, so it's like the kind of stuff, shouldn't happen there. And when it does, people get upset, and you guys are really, really respectful. We always appreciate that.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the call, and next time you see me, stop by, all right?
Definitely.
And
all right.
Good luck,
have a
all
nice
right?
night.
Take it easy.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
888-659-3727. Holy shit, Joe. What do you think about that?
I'm going to have to castigate that cat. Why didn't he come over to you and at least get an autograph, a picture of you and your wife, man? Woman, cool. I mean, that's kind of disrespectful, I think.
I actually had a cold that night. I think I didn't feel that great.
I mean, he's a adoring fan. I mean, you're a super personality. If I saw you and your wife in New York restaurant, I'd be over there in a minute.
I had a little bronchitis happening, and I felt a little bloated. Next time I'll be in better shape. Next time you see me, Brian.
Well,
Anyway.
Brian should have come over to say hello to you out of respect to you.
You know what? Out of respect, I think he didn't, and I think that showed a tremendous amount of respect, Joe. So you don't need to castigate him. He's a good guy.
No, I don't mean castigate in a negative way. He's a nice guy, Brian. I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean the cool way.
Yeah.
If I saw you and your lovely wife blank, I won't mention her name, I'd be over in a second.
I know that, Joe, but you already know us. This guy is a listener or a viewer of the show. Maybe he wants to respect our privacy. I get that, and I appreciate that.
Well, okay, that's cool.
But what's funny is I always tell my common law wife, I'm like, I know that guy knows who I am. Like I do Norwood clocking, and Norwoods are always staring at me when I walk into a restaurant.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine. A lot of Hello Suffers are now all kinds of forms demanding you shave your head now. It's something new now. It's coming out now.
Did I shave my head?
No, it's demanding that you shave your head. I don't know if you've seen that in the forum, some of the other forums.
No, if they want to pay me, I'll do it.
No, they're demanding you shave your head now. I don't know why. It's kind of bizarre, to be honest with you, but I mean, it's true. The forum's really crazy.
If you guys can collectively put together, like, we'll get a big tip jar. Like, I do it, say, $2 million cash. I'll shave my head, and I'll do it on the air.
How about it doesn't grow back? What should you do then?
If it doesn't grow back, I'll glue something on. Why wouldn't it grow back? It's going to grow back to the same, crazy, amount of hair that I have right now with the comb over,
Well, I respectfully disagree with you on that. My hair hasn't grown in 25 years, as you know. stay the same length for 25 years.
Well,
You know, it may stay the same. You never know.
Well, you never know, but I wouldn't, I don't think that would be the case. And if it was, I'd just wear a hat for a while. Listen, I'd be one of those, shaved head guys with a hat, and I'll do the show, and, everyone will say I look like Kane from Kung Fu, and they'll call it a day.
That's true, too. I'll make you a quick question. Now, do you feel as positive as I do on Replicel? In fact, on Facebook? I mean, to me, that's saying something. What is your opinion, your expert opinion on that?
My expert opinion on that is that Replicel is really smart in the way that they are marketing themselves through social media. And it definitely helps. It's definitely important for their stockholders. I think it's important to create that buzz. And to me, that's all that it means. I don't know, until we know, we don't know. Is that all right? How's that for honesty?
We're going to know. In a few short weeks, we'll be knowing what we have answers.
Yes, we will. Joe, I'm going to put you on hold, take another call, and, go battle it out in the chat, all right?
And by the way, me and Tracy made up.
Oh, good. She's a wonderful girl.
I'm not criticizing her. I just a little disagree with her.
You can kind of just tell the good people in this world, and there's something about her, something about the way that she, the amount of time she spends on the forum, how she posts, how she treats others, even when people treat her like crap. It just kind of shows you what she's a class act.
Well, honestly, I'd love to date her, to tell you the truth.
Well, maybe we could arrange that. Dude, are you kidding? She would never date a freak like you.
What?
She would never date a freak like you. I mean, you're good. For people who don't know, Joe's a pretty good-looking dude. He's tall,
Thank you,
and
man.
the last time I saw him, he says he weighs 150 pounds now, but last time I saw him, he was a normal weight. And it's shocking when you see him. If you're used to listening to him, it's shocking when you meet him. He's like a normal-looking dude, except for the crazy hat.
Shocked? Well, remember how shocked your former sidekick Dave Salazar was? He was like mortified when he saw me.
He was.
The look on his face and said it all.
All right, hold on, Joe. 888-659-3727. I'll take this call, and then I'm going to take a break. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Good evening.
Oh, my God. George is alive and well. Thank God. How are you?
Oh, I'm just typing emails and taking calls. And I missed the beginning of the show. My attorney called me to go over some stuff that we've been working on, and he's not going to be in the office tomorrow. So I missed the beginning of the show with Joe's update, and I was like, I got off the phone with a lawyer. I looked at my cell phone, and I was like, damn, it's 7:16. The program's been on for 15 minutes. So, Joe, I appreciate that you were concerned about my welfare, my friend, and I apologize for missing your Neogenesis update. Did you announce the cure tonight, Joe?
Joe, you there?
Am I up?
Yeah, you're probably up.
George,
did you announce the cure tonight? I know you're going to castigate me. Like I said, just don't castrate me, okay?
I'm going to castigate you because I heard about the attorney in Alabama, and I was extremely worried about you for over 2 weeks. But you didn't call the Andrew show or Spencer show. I couldn't sleep for a few nights. It really took a big toll on me, George.
It's very sweet of you that you're so concerned about me. I'm just, sometimes you get in a bummed out mode and you're so overwhelmed with shit in your life. See, Spencer, God bless him, does not have the luxury of when he feels bad with all the crap he has to deal with from the scum in this industry. Some of us, when we get overwhelmed with the scum in life, with scummy business associates or with the thugs in the federal government or, bad relationship issues, family issues. Some of us, when we feel bad, we have the luxury of kind of withdrawing into our cocoon so that we don't, just kind of go our own way for a little while just to kind of get our head back together.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I had to do. I just, sometimes when you feel bad, it's just not the time to go air the stuff on national or international radio because, hey, everybody's got their own personal stuff going on, and nobody really wants to hear you whiny-ass bullshit, as far as that's my opinion. And I don't want to come on and whine about my personal issues, and if I don't have anything to contribute positive to the program, I'd rather just sit there and silently, passively listen. Rather than
and I understand that. I appreciate that. It's not easy to come on the air when you're bummed and you're dealing with life. But I will tell you that doing this broadcast and hanging out with you guys and hearing callers like Brian and whoever else calls in, during the show, and every once in a while you get somebody who will, call in and say how the show has changed their life. It kind of is. It's uplifting for me. It's cathartic, and it kind of makes all the crap that I deal with in this industry all worth it.
I got you.
So
no, but yeah, it's very kind. See, you come on there, you and Joe from Staten Island come on there no matter how you guys are feeling. And poor Joe, our friend, he feels bad most of the time because of what this has done to him. But he still comes on. He still does his research. He still comes on and shares with all of us. You do the same thing, Spencer. You're always coming on and sharing with us and trying to uplift the rest of us poor suffering schmucks. So you guys come on and do your due diligence and help everyone, no matter how badly you're feeling. But sometimes when I feel bad, I think I have nothing positive to contribute. I'm just feeling like shit. I'd rather just sit there and listen, rather than sometimes you just don't feel like talking.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it. So
but George, all the millions of people were worried about you, George. I mean, it was really very traumatic. And then what's happened to you, man? I don't
really think that's kind of you, but I really think that you may be engaging in a little hyperbole when you say millions of people are concerned about me. Maybe a half dozen, maybe a half dozen of Spencer's core listeners might be interested, but everybody's got their own stuff to deal with in life, Joe. And and it's like just because George doesn't show up. I mean, I got to turn down. I finally got the online thing going here. Let me turn it down. Okay, sorry about that.
That's right.
Just because I don't show up for a couple of weeks is not really a source of loss of sleep for the average person. But you're a very caring person, Joe. It's nice to know that you are our friend, that you're concerned about us. And
George, you're one of Joe's only friends. So if he loses you, all he's got is me.
And Johnny,
well, I'm really looking forward. Yeah, exactly, Johnny.
And
I'm looking forward to the
Tracy.
day that we're. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the day that we can all meet, either in New York or L.A. or someplace.
That's not going to happen.
Sit down and.
That's not going to happen.
Dude, you said it was going to happen one day.
No, I'm bowing out of that one.
Why, man? We'll all be in a hotel room.
For all I know, George is going to end up killing me.
That's we never know.
Yeah, we all got to meet someplace.
Stretch, you've vetted me already. I'm safe.
I thought you were safe, but as time progresses, Joe, you seem to be getting worse.
Okay. Stretch, I wouldn't harm a hair in your head. You know that.
Well, I wouldn't let you touch a hair in my head, but I'm not worried about the hair on my head, Joe.
Stretch, next time we come to New York, believe me, I'm safe. I may be insane, but I'm safe. You know that, man.
You know what creeps me out, and I'm glad that this guy sounds like a really great guy, and I'm glad that he called the program and and said that he saw me. But I always wonder who else, when I'm like if I'm at like a play or if I'm in a restaurant like over the hill in L.A. or and I see people looking at me, and I'm only famous in this world, okay? But this world is big. This hair loss world is a lot bigger than most people think. Well, we know how many people, but it's a big niche, even though it seems like it would be small. So there's a lot of people that who are doing the research that find me, see my image, watch the show once or twice, and then it's really creepy. I got to tell you. When I was just when I was just on the radio.
List,
say it again.
Can't you have a safe list like the few core trusted people that are not axe murderers? And that we could have a few people on the safe list.
First of all, George, you spend a lot of time in like Lowe's or Target. You are pretty much bunkered in your home.
No, I'm not.
You that's what you tell us. You have a fondness for guns, right?
And martial arts.
And
so
yeah. What? So you can kick my ass and shoot me. So no, listen. Of course, I would meet you guys. I get like a Pope mobile.
Stretch, all I want to do is hug you, man.
We don't have to meet at
Benny
Hanna's. We don't have to meet at Benny Hanna's if you're scared somebody's going to reach out and grab a knife from midair and start slashing. We don't have to go to Benny Hanna's.
I got to tell you, as trashy as that may sound, and I don't see why it would sound trashy. I love Benny Hanna's. That's I love going to.
Oh, I like it too. I love it too. I'm just saying, if you're uncomfortable around knives flying through the air, I mean, we can go someplace where there's a bunch of tree huggers eating hummus with their fingers, dude, and no implements of destruction around.
We'll figure it out. Right? Everyone has to be naked except for Joe.
Spencer, when you see me, all I'm going to do is give you a big hug.
All right.
Fair enough?
It's fair enough. Listen, I'm going to take one more phone call, and then I'm going to take a break. So I need to get
Spencer, you have all my pedigree information. Well, you're the only person in this world that has it. You know I'm safe.
I'm not worried about either of you guys. Well, but we got to do it in Vegas, and there has to be at least one hooker involved.
That sounds like fun to me. Hey, you didn't answer my question. Did Joe have to announce the cure tonight for androgenetic alopecia? Did I miss it?
No. All I announced that
darn.
is on Facebook. That's all I said.
That's it.
Sure,
that's the big
break. Sure, you would know about it before tonight. It'd be the front page of every newspaper in America. Right, Spencer?
That's right. Listen, ladies, I'm going to put you on hold. Hey, you're on the air. Here's this.
Hey, Spencer, how you doing?
Johnny, what's happening, man? How are you?
Good. I want to say hi to my hair loss brother from another mother.
I'm going to try to pot them all. I'm going to try to pot them all up, and hopefully this holds. So, let's see. All right, guys. Oh, Joe hung up, or I lost Joe.
Johnny, my friend, it's good to hear your voice.
Good to hear you, George. I'm glad that the tornadoes and the terrible weather didn't affect you and your loved ones, and it's good to hear from you.
Hey, man, the only thing that's affecting me is the fact that next Saturday on St. Patty's Day I'm turning 50 years old. That's one thing that's really bothering me.
You know what's bugging me? It's almost St. Patrick's Day, and I still haven't gotten my shamrock shake yet. Maybe I'll do that tonight.
Shamrock shake. Where do you get that, man?
McDonald's, man. Once a year. I mean, are you so?
What are they doing? Putting green food coloring in the chocolate shakes, man?
It's a mint shake. Once a year, they offer the Shamrock shake. It's delicious. But how have you been living under a rock?
Dude, I'm into the health and wellness and anti-aging nutraceuticals. Look, I gave out dozens.
You didn't get a Shamrock, even as a kid. Your parents didn't get you. Your birthday is on St. Patrick's Day.
Look, man, they came out with this Shamrock crap years after I quit. I mean, I haven't been to McDonald's since like the late 1970s. Okay.
Dude, they had Shamrock shakes back then. I'm telling you. When I was a kid, I couldn't wait.
They didn't have them in Mobile, Alabama. I'm sorry to tell you, dude. They didn't have them down here. But look.
Well, I will tell you, you're right about that. They do offer them in just limited stores across
major
the country.
metro areas, probably a place like Chicago, where they dump the friggin' green food coloring in the river. But
what about a McRib? Have you ever had a McRib?
I had a McRib back in the late 70s or around 1980 or so, around the time I started college. But
all right, thank God.
But look, I gave out several dozen copies of what was the anti-McDonald's thing with the Super Size Me, the movie. Remember?
Yes, I
gave out. I bought it.
Morgan
Spurlock.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morgan Spurlock, really cool dude. I gave out several copies, along with some of my anti-aging buddies and docs and scientists, and I was giving them out to people around because we were trying to get people on board with getting folks off of this deadly crap. But hey, I might even actually do one of those shake things, but I'm lactose intolerant, so I'm sure I'll have to eat some lactate or something.
Oh yeah, I'm a celiac, and I still eat bread.
You have celiac sprue? Are you gluten intolerant?
Well, I have. I didn't know. For years I'm like, why is my stomach like a basketball after I have a big meal? Literally, it was like I'd be walking around, and my common-law wife is like, "What's going on there?" And I felt like I needed to put a pin in there and let the air out. And then I just stopped eating bread for a while, and it disappeared.
Hey man, I need some input from you if I could on one quick question. Since you're a celebrity, and
I'm a Z-list. I'm a Z-list celebrity, my man.
You are, but you're still a celebrity. I need your help on something.
You're not supposed to agree with that. You're not supposed to agree with that. Go ahead.
I know I have limited time to get my question out, and I'll get castrated something by Joe if I don't make it quickly because it's not specifically about hair loss. So I got to get it out quickly. I had a train wreck of a business meeting this past week. My favorite seafood restaurant in town where everyone knows me.
Red Lobster?
It's a big chain thing. No, dude. It's a chain place.
Okay.
Not friggin' Red Lobster, for God's sake. You're busting my balls always. No, it's a really nice upscale restaurant. I had a business associate flew in from up in Michigan. I've got people there. I got some muckety mucks here. I got a former union president buddy of mine there. So I'm there trying to, have a business meeting. And this guy's flown in from across the country, and I go to this restaurant where it's my favorite place to eat. And I'm buddies with the owner, and the regional manager from Tampa is in, and all the waiters and waitresses all know me, and I've given nice tips, so they're all in my ass. So guess what happened? We're trying to have a business meeting, and everybody and his brother, it was a really psycho busy night, they all start coming over to the table to say hello while this guy is trying to talk business. And every time he gets on a roll, another waitress comes up and wants to hug me, another person comes and wants to shake my hand. And even though they're nice people and they're trying to be friendly, this has never happened like this before, and it's like they were treating me like the VIP guy, probably because the regional manager was there and they're just all schmoozing, right? You know, trying to act like you're particularly nice to the patrons. So, man, the next thing I know, my buddy is just my business associate buddy. After everybody leaves, he's like, "We're not coming here anymore. This is, it's impossible to do business here." He was really, really pissed. So, dude, whenever you're out in public and you're trying to talk business, and I know you don't bring people to your house like I don't either. Whenever I see somebody who's politically, what the hell is George talking about? Not sure. Somebody says BS. Hopefully he's going somewhere here. Well, you know where I'm going, Spence. How do you do business meetings out in public at restaurants and keep people off of your ass?
I use the cone of silence. Remember that show, Get Smart? I guess you don't.
The what? Oh, yeah, I remember Get Smart. Of course
you guys don't remember the cone of silence?
I remember it.
Holy shit.
No, I don't remember the cone of... I remember the Get Smart very, very well, but I don't remember...
I'll tell you how I do. I don't do business in restaurants. If I go out to eat, I'm usually going to be drinking, and I will not do business if I have any alcohol in me. So I choose not to do business in restaurants.
Well,
that's the bottom line.
It was just a convenient place to meet, and I invited this guy to come there, for dinner, and he was going to listen to what my buddy had to say, and unfortunately it ended up turning into a freaking train wreck because everybody wanted to come up and schmooze, like 15 people.
My experience with business dinners always ends up in just a waste of time. You're having a good meal, and nothing ever really transpires. Maybe you get to meet somebody. That's great. I don't like the social... I don't want to socialize necessarily with people I do business with. And I know that may sound odd to a lot of people because they think you have to schmooze, and I like to keep it separate.
This was, again, a get acquainted sort of business meeting, so it was a social sort of thing.
Yeah.
But everyone at the table was having, like, JDs and beers and stuff except me. And so, and all the interruptions, and it was like, it did not go well.
And the truth is, there are very few people that I do business with in my life that I would probably consider friends. And sometimes when you let them into your world, it really puts a strain on your business relationship. So, but no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm going off on a tangent. I just prefer not to talk any type of business during dinner. To me, having dinner, you're going out to relax and just bullshit. And if you're meeting someone in your business or who's considering doing business with you, you're considering doing business with, it's a good atmosphere just to get to know each other socially. But, to me, whatever is said at the table stays at the table because usually you're drunk. At least I
appreciate your counsel on that. In the future, it'll be like in homes or hotel meeting rooms, and then we'll go to the restaurant afterwards. It just wasn't a large enough group to do that. Who is GFQ Viewer 384 who says, "Hi, George, hugs"? I hope that's a girl.
Nobody knows. That's why the GFQ Viewer 384. Listen, guys, I'm going to take a break. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. 888-659-3727. We will be right back after these messages.
Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Any of you that have ever felt stepped on, left out, picked on, put down, whether you think you're a nerd or not, why don't you just come down here and join us, okay? Come on.
What time does the show come on? 9 where? Well, what's the name of the show? And what's the name of him? Okay. Well, turn it on then. Jesus. Okay. All right, is it recording? Okay. Hey there, this is Gary Coleman. I don't have any idea what this is about, but you're watching... What? No, not watching. Let me do that again. Take 2. Hey, this is Gary Coleman. I have no idea what this is about, and I think people just need to learn to respect themselves and other people respect who's bald. You're listening to The Bald Truth. That's 2. All right, fine, but this is it. Otherwise, he's going to have to go in his wallet. All right, here you go. Take 3. Ready? This is Gary Coleman, and you're listening to Spencer Coburn on The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome back. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. You are listening to and watching The Bald Truth, self-help radio for guys, and of course, for girls who get it. Live from Los Angeles, live from TBT Studios here in my home in LA. So great to be here, hanging out with you guys. Look, if you're new to the broadcast, you don't know what the F this is the hair loss show. Yes, that's what we talk about. We talk about hair loss. If it's something that you're uninterested in, then change the channel. Stop watching us online or on your Roku box or on your television. I guess you can do that through Samsung and Roku now. But most of you will probably stop and watch and listen because most of you are dealing with hair loss. That's just the way that it is. You know that restaurant that Brian was working at? That's like a Norwood convention, this place. It's unbelievable. Just about everyone who works there is dealing with hair loss. These are young cats. It's the way that it is. So if you're looking for a safe place to learn, to vent, to share information, to get completely objective information about anything and everything hair loss, this is your safe place. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. I'm going to pot the boys back up for a second, and then I'm going to take another phone call. So I think I have George and Johnny. I'm going to try to pot up Joe, and hopefully I can get all three of you up for a second, and then I'm going to take another call, all right? Joe, is that you?
Yeah, I have a question. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question for one of our people in the chat room.
I think either I hung up on George or his phone disconnected simultaneously when I potted you.
Am I potted up, Spencer?
Yeah.
First of all, hair loss sufferer doesn't give me a chance to go to the bathroom, man.
I would assume that since you're bedridden that you would have a bedpan or a urinal at least.
Well, I'm not at that point yet. So give me a chance to go to the bathroom, man. It's pretty, I'm about to get a bedpan soon.
Well,
now, our good friend Tracy's from the chat room, who I adore, by the way.
Yes.
Would love to meet one day. I'd like to have pedigree information. I've asked the next question to you. What is your opinion on higher strength minoxidil as opposed to 5% Rogaine, which we purchased over the counter? Why hasn't Johnson & Johnson, for instance, put out a higher strength Rogaine, in your opinion?
Well, that's a good question. I am not a huge fan.
That's Tracy's question.
Tracy, that's a great question. I'm not a huge fan of higher strength Rogaine. Again, let me preface this by saying I'm not a physician. I have used up to, in my life, 15% minoxidil solutions, and honestly, it never really did any more for me than the 5% solution. And frankly, a lot of these guys are mixing their solutions with tretinoin or retin-A, I can never pronounce this, azelaic acid, and other concoctions, in hopes that it's going to improve the efficacy or the absorption rate of the drug. Honestly, man, all that I have seen, and again, I'm not a doctor, is people suffering from more adverse side effects who use these products. Guys who have, and I had the same thing, more burning and itching of the scalp. There's some thought that these products can cause, in some cases, something called follicular fibrosis, which is kind of like a hardening or a petrification of the hair follicle. There's a reason why the FDA has only approved up to 5% at this point. And I don't think it's because the makers of Rogaine wouldn't want to have another product that's patented on the market. You know what I mean? So I'm not a big fan. I think there's a huge niche market for it. We had guys like Dr. Lee who was selling his products for a long time. Well, I thought Dr. Lee was a good guy. I don't think he ever meant any harm, and I think he's probably benefited a lot of people. I never really thought his products were the end-all, be-all, and I thought that most people would probably do just as well on straight over-the-counter Rogaine or minoxidil 5%. How's that for an answer?
Very good. One more quick thing. Hair loss sufferers are demanding aggressively that Tracy go in. It's dying to hear her voice.
Dude, I can't. What? Say that again.
Hair loss sufferers on the chat room
Are you underwater at this point? What are you talking to your phone?
Okay, well, I had to run to the bathroom while I was kind of in the bathroom.
Oh.
Because I couldn't hold it any longer. The hell of stuff to give me shit to the bathroom. Tracy, people demanding that Tracy call in. They want to hear her voice.
Well, she's welcome to call in any time, but I don't think she should be forced to call in if she's uncomfortable.
No, I'm not forcing. I'm saying what the hell of sufferers are saying on the.
Yeah, but no peer pressure for Tracy. When she wants to call in someday, she is absolutely more than welcome. I know that she, from what I read about her from her post, she has actually had a hair transplant with Dr. Bob Haber in Ohio. So I think she is a true hair loss sufferer. She is one of our sisters in hair loss, who's obviously been through the mill to the point where she decided to have a hair transplant. So, it's always interesting. It's always interesting to hear from women who've undergone surgical hair restoration.
I would call her a veteran.
She's a veteran, yes.
Let me say one quick thing before you find me down.
Yeah.
I wish I had a wife like Tracy.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's probably a wonderful woman, but you don't. So you have Phyllis. Deal with it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I prefer Tracy though.
How do you know? How do you know Tracy's even a woman? How do you know she's not a guy? How do you know she's not some guy with like a beard and full of tattoos?
Well, who knows? That could be cool too.
You'd be happy with that. You'd probably be more happy with that, Joe.
Whoa. My first laugh I had all week. I was visually attacked, so I got a bold truth. Thank you, Spencer, for the first laugh I've had all week. I'm trying to recover.
You don't know what being viciously attacked is. Believe me.
You're right, Spencer.
You have no clue. But you know what? You just got to deal with it, man. You got to deal with it.
Well, I got a small taste of it this week, and I'm trying to say I appreciate what you go through every day. I finally, realized it.
There's a lot of pricks out there. And even some of the pricks that I've helped over the years will still criticize me on my own message forum. It's amazing.
Yes. Where do I find this? Because I was looking on the message forums. I didn't see any criticism. Maybe I'm not looking in the right...
you know what? You're better off not looking for it. And just, you'll find it. You'll find it. You'll find it. But anyway, I don't want to even...
Johnny, I found it, and it's horrifying. It's all lies.
Honestly, dude, I'm not even complaining. It is
jealousy.
It is what it is. Well, there's professional jealousy. There's a lot of, just... Listen, there's certain things I cannot talk about on the air, but I will tell you this. This program is cathartic for me. I know how important it is to all of those who've been viewing and listening to the program for the last 14 years. Obviously, you're going to get your critics who are like, why aren't there any doctors on the show? Or why isn't there any news this week? Well, you know what? That's not what the show's about. When the news comes, when there's interesting stuff we can talk about, we talk about it. But this is a platform for all of you guys to come and share all of your feelings, your concerns, your thoughts, your triumphs over hair loss.
Wouldn't you say you have more positive feedback than you do negative? Overwhelmingly positive.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're all. I mean, like my grandmother said, no matter who you are, people are going to talk about you. It doesn't matter if you're Lady Diana or Jesus Christ. You're gonna have your detractors.
Yes.
So just let it roll off, man. Don't let it bother you, Joe. And just to let you know about this Bald Truth convention, if it ever happens, and we go into the convention room, and I hear dueling banjos from Deliverance. I'm out of there.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's going to be a huge sign. Welcome, Norwoods.
Yes.
It's going to be a Norwood convention. That's what it's going to be.
Yes. And
and I'm going to be. I'm telling you, I'm just going to be kind of rolling around and like one of those people movers, but it's going to look like a pulp mobile. It's going to be covered with like plexiglass. It's going to be bulletproof, and that's how you guys are going to meet me.
Well, people might want to have a lock of your hair just as a souvenir. So you might want to maybe put something around.
That's certainly not going to happen.
Spencer, I really believe in the bottom of my heart, in a few short years, I will be appearing with you unmasked on TV for a commercial for a certain company with a full head of something near full head of hair. I really believe that from the bottom of my heart.
Well,
you hear that? He's actually going to get on television where millions upon millions of people are going to be able to view his hair. This will be earth shattering. And I'm telling you right now that the apocalypse may be around the corner.
Well, I'm gonna have to be drunk for that because I don't know if I can deal with Joe on camera talking to millions of people about his hair loss experience and his new hair. I don't know if I can deal with that. I might be embarrassed. How would you deal with that, Johnny?
Well, as long as he's not talking about chicks with cranks and castigating people, I think it would be cool. It would be a great day, though. Honestly, could you imagine Joe with a full head of hair happy? That would be amazing.
I think what I would probably do is just hand over the keys to Joe. Just say, look, my job is done here. Joe, take over. And see what he can make of the whole thing, you know? I mean, I think Joe with a full head of hair would be able to really rock it, man. He'd be a completely different human being.
Andrew would have to give him a show then.
Yeah, I'm sure Andrew would give him a show.
Spencer, I would fly to California immediately if that happened.
Well,
I know you don't like people.
No, you would be welcome. We have an outhouse that you.
No, I said hotel, but I would.
I'm just,
have a drink with you and your wife. Though I would take you out for the best dinner in the world.
I know.
And appear live on TV, man. I wear a beautiful $1,000 suit.
Well,
and if I may comment on any further interviews that you have with some of these companies with breakthrough techniques and drugs for curing hair loss, take your time, Spencer. Do something. Don't rush anything. Do it on your schedule, on your time frame, and we'll all be waiting. I mean, it's nothing that you should rush.
I appreciate that, but if I do it on my time frame, it's never going to get done. Actually, I'm going to take a phone call. Hold on, guys.
Thank you, Spencer.
Hey, who's this? You're on the air. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this? Ah, he hung up. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, it's George.
Hey, George.
You cut me off when you tried to pot everybody up a little while ago.
Sorry about that, bro.
No, dude, it's all right. I mean, it's just it's technology. It happens. Man, I tell you what, I got off topic to ask you one question. These people went after me like a bunch of piranhas after a freaking leg of cattle or something.
Well, what happened?
No, earlier when I asked you that off-topic question, it's funny how they'll suddenly smell blood in the water and they'll come after you.
Dude, you gotta stop worrying about what's being said about you in the forum. They don't know you. They don't know who you are. You're just some voice on a radio show. And these guys are gonna they're gonna pick on you. They're gonna go after any chink in your armor. They're gonna make fun of you, or they're gonna praise you at times.
It makes me feel like I'm back in high school. You know how high school kids would go after you.
Dude, that's what life is. Life is high school with money. That's all that life is. If you think that we've gotten past that shit, we haven't. Just look at all the crap that goes on the internet. Look at all the cyberbullying that happens, amongst adults. That's all. Life is high school with money. You can't expect anything better from people.
And I've reached the age now.
Plus, you're a lot of fun to make fun of because it really affects you.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't affect me. It may sound like it does, but it doesn't. And it just kind of cracks me up because I think, here I am, half a century old, and yet these adults are still behaving like high school kids, and it's just hilarious.
Dude, you got 60-year-old people doing that, 70-year-old people doing that. I mean, it doesn't change. And I think the guys in the chat room, it's all in good fun. I don't think there's any real evil guys who are hanging out in our chat room. Maybe one or two detractors. I haven't seen them, but they might be there. But I think it's all in good fun. I think they're just busting your balls for the most part. Joe.
No, I don't think these are malevolent, evil, vicious people. Not like those ones that those guys that were bullying people whenever their family members got killed or died, and they had these groups of people that were cyberbullying people. Remember we talked about that about a year ago.
Absolutely.
Remember that girl that stole her daddy's Porsche and ran down the highway and crashed it into a bridge abutment?
Oh my God!
Remember her brains were like all over the place, and those guys were like texting her parents at her funeral saying, "Daddy, I'm still alive." Crazy, awful shit like that. I don't think we have any people like that.
What a horrific world we live in, and there are so many people like this in this world. And
you said it the other night, dude. The evil exists in this world. It's all there is to it.
Evil certainly does exist in this world, and there are so many evil people out there. In every walk of life, there are evil lawyers and doctors and people that work in bars and your next door neighbor. You never know how evil these people are. And then when people hide behind the shroud or the screen of the internet or behind a keyboard, they somehow that empowers them to, kind of expose that evil, be even more evil, and they don't care who they hurt. It's just a way of life, man. And this is the world we live in. But what I find interesting about the internet is, before the internet, I knew that there were a lot of bad people out there. But now when I'm like driving it, on the freeway, I'm like, I wonder what kind of freak that guy is next to me. Who knows what he's into online? So you just don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you find out about some of the
Joe? What about Joe? Who knew he likes chicks with cranks? You know what I'm saying?
Somebody named someone named GFQ viewer 1261 George sounds really hot, and there's like 1 million exclamation points. What in the world?
Yeah, someone's just is screwing with you, and they want to kind of get a rise out of you.
Oh, well, you could post my picture up there and let them all laugh at me.
Well, I don't have it. I have a picture of you from 1982.
No, it's 91.
Oh, 91.
Yeah.
I don't even know where that is.
And they, no one could look at that and even, people, hell, after it was taken, people couldn't associate it with me. So you could post that and nobody would, they wouldn't be they couldn't pick me out to, target me with insanity or anything, but
they might. You never know, dude. Let me give out the phone number: 888-659-3727. I'm gonna pop these guys up, and then I will take some more calls. So,
George, you had some of the ladies are saying that you're hot too, like Tracy, and she said you do sound hot. So that's a compliment.
Spence can post a picture and they can make their own decision. What was that, Joe?
I don't have your picture, dude. You sent me a picture 10 years ago, and I don't know where it is.
That was like 2 years ago, man.
No, I don't have it.
Am I part of that?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to castigate someone. This guy Koja. What hair transfer company does he work for? What the hell is his agenda? He's poisoning this forum, man. He's making me ill this evening.
What's he saying? I haven't even paid attention to him.
He's like insane.
Well,
what medication is this guy on? He's paid by somebody.
Well, what is he saying?
He's a professional detractor. This guy is insane. He's saying this is all bullshit. Hair loss will be cured for 10 years. Who the hell is this guy? He doesn't know anything about anything.
Look, he's an unhappy guy. Whatever it is, everyone's got their problems. I mean, leave the guy alone.
I'm a happy guy?
No, you're not a happy guy. But, I mean, everyone... Listen, I guess unless he disrupts the entire room, unless people are really unhappy with him being there, he has the right to say what he needs to say.
Well, he's just saying that he's taking more of a conservative approach, I believe. He's not as optimistic as we are about having a cure soon. He's just saying, hey, it's going to take 10 years, not 2.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe he's right. That's his opinion. He's welcome to voice his opinion. That's what the show's all about.
I mean,
especially these people are not professionals. I mean, they're novice and they post his opinion.
I was going to say honey. I almost called you honey, dude. That is.
Oh, what did you say?
That is what the internet is all about. It's all about. It's all about people who don't know shit posting all kinds of nonsense all over the internet for public consumption. That's what the internet is about. You guys, if you guys don't understand that, you have to take what you read on many of the message forums, the opinions of those who are just sitting in their, behind their computer who don't know anything about the industry. Take everything with a grain of salt. Well, whatever, you know,
Well,
it's okay.
I don't know anything.
But it's okay
that's the reason I'm here.
that's the point. It's okay to voice your opinion, to post about your thoughts and your concerns, to talk about, you know, to speculate on what's happening in the industry. But no one should take the speculation of those who are just posters on internet forums as the gospel. You just can't do it. And sadly, that's what happens, and it's crazy. I never understood that.
Well, you're very intelligent. You have Tracy C. and you have Arista, very intelligent people.
Yes, those are great. Those are great. Those are great people, and those are guys who really are level-headed as far as you know, posters are concerned on internet forums. These are both, you know, Tracy is very experienced. She's a veteran.
Yes, she is.
In the hair loss world, and Arista always comes off as a very level-headed guy.
Yes, he posts a lot too.
Yeah, but
you have Tracy's phone number, maybe?
No, I don't have any information on Tracy, and if I did, I would not give it to you.
Hey, can I ask a question about this Puna Sarana person?
Yes, we call her Froggy for.
Yeah, I know you call her Froggy. I referred to her. What is a? This is a very eloquent person who seems to have a really good head on her shoulders. Is she listening because she's a hair loss sufferer, or because she's just enjoys the forum? And you know, do you know anything about this girl? She seems like a really sharp person.
I think she's a woman about my age. I was going to say our age, but I'm so much younger than you, George. And
oh, bull crap!
And
2 years, yeah, right.
And she just enjoys. She watches all the GFQ shows, and I think that's how she might have been turned on to the Bald Truth. And I think she just enjoys, you know, being part of the chat and watching the programs and watching our show. And I highly doubt she's dealing with hair loss.
It's interesting that you know that you track such a broad demographic, and these people are showing up just because they enjoy the banter going on. Oh, did you see what Suncast just said?
No.
The Bald Truth love lines are now open.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think it's just because the older chicks dig me. You know, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, you're becoming like the
Dude,
Dr. Drew.
I am just kidding, man.
The Dr. Drew guy. And what is the deal on this Adam Carolla guy? I saw him the other day on one of these late night talk things. This guy's like Mr. Internet Guru guy.
Yeah, well, Adam Carolla actually has the biggest, the most downloaded podcast on the internet.
Yeah, there's a thought. Get Dr. Drew on.
Well, and we might be able to do that at some point. You know, I'm not going to say I know Dr. Drew well, but I do know him. And he used to do Loveline out of Westwood One when I would do my program. And as I was leaving, he was coming on the air. And, you know, we always say hi, goodbye. He knows who I am. His current associate producer and board op was my producer. And he's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy.
I like it.
And Adam Carolla is a nice guy, too. I mean, he is certainly an internet entrepreneur. He had, obviously, a great following, so it was easier for a guy who was coming off of radio in a big way to kind of build a fan base. But with that said, he still kind of took the reins early on in the world of podcasting and internet broadcasting and really made it into a huge business for himself. Got a lot of respect for the guy.
Interesting. Miss Froggy was asking me why didn't I just ask her in there. She doesn't answer people. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm just being lazy and asking Spencer because I wanted to get his input. That's why I asked him on the phone rather than just typing in the chat room. But Spencer, when are you going to have that dude from Boca back on?
Who? Alan Bauman?
Doctor. Yeah. When are you going to have that guy back on?
When do you want him on?
Yeah.
Any time. Just let me know.
And you still think that if I want to get with my anti-aging doc and do like the testosterone replacement thing, I got to get my levels tested and see if I need any tweaking. You still think that guy is a good guy to consult with to make sure that as you walk the edge of the razor blade, as you boost your testosterone, you don't end up.
I think he's a good guy to consult with, but I have to tell you, man, I think that you're putting yourself at great risk as far as hair loss is concerned by boosting your testosterone.
Have you seen that commercial for that neurosurgeon, the Harvard neurosurgeon guy, Dr. Rosenstein or something like that, for the new testosterone boosting supplement? And it shows him a few years ago looking kind of soft and round, and now he's 56.
Yeah, he's totally jacked. Yeah,
he looks friggin' awesome. But if you notice, the dude never had androgenetic alopecia to begin with.
Right.
But his body looks friggin' awesome.
Well, I got to tell you, man. I mean, I know that he's like 10 years older than I am, but I think that if you train hard enough and if you eat right, you can remain jacked into your 60s without taking these without supplementing your hormones or changing your hormonal balance. I really believe that.
I don't know if the dude had hormone replacement or not, but there was a picture in some of the muscle mags a few years ago, or some of the fitness sites, of some guy named Bob something, some guy with white hair who was in his mid-70s.
Yeah.
And he had the body of like a world-class bodybuilder. I mean, the guy was.
Well, listen, I know a guy. He's a neighbor of mine, and he, a few years ago, he's a few years older than I am, so he's got to be 50 by now. But he was maybe at the time 44, 45 years old, and he was like in shape, good-looking dude. But then all of a sudden, I saw him, and he's walking his dog, and he's huge, with this huge head and neck. I'm like, what's going on, dude? You're jacked. And he said he said that he was his testosterone. He tested his testosterone was low, and he went to an anti-aging guy, and he's on taking human growth hormone and testosterone, and that's juice. You're on steroids once you do that. So you're huge. I mean, the guy is incredibly built and like a bodybuilder type of guy now. And then about maybe a year and a half ago, he contacted me. This is a guy with the most insane hair you've ever seen. Contacted me and said he's noticing that he's losing his hair. Now, is it a coincidence? I don't know. Maybe.
I doubt it.
I doubt it, though. So I will tell you that I think that if I train hard enough, which I don't, and if I eat right, which I don't necessarily eat right all the time, I can remain pretty jacked for a long time without getting too soft. However, I do know that a lot of guys at my age and your age are starting to, supplement with human growth hormone and testosterone therapy, which basically is taking steroids. And these guys are looking great, but I am not willing to risk that to have the body that I had when I was 20. Because I'd rather have the hair on my head.
Well, how much would you have to take?
Well, it depends on your levels, but you'd have to take enough where you're going to raise your testosterone to a point where who knows if it's going to, affect your hair loss. Maybe I could raise my Proscar. Go ahead, say that again.
So the byproduct of DHT would basically accelerate your hair loss, is what you're saying.
There's a strong possibility, yes.
There's no way to give you testosterone without compromising the DHT.
Well, the thing, if you're taking finasteride, you're going to basically inhibit the conversion of testosterone into dehydrotestosterone. However, because you're blocking the enzyme 5-alpha reductase type 2. However, where's that balance? Like George said, you're kind of like walking the razor's edge. You don't know how much of an increase you're going to have in testosterone, and even if you're taking, synthetic testosterone, which is what you would be given, you don't know if that's going to send you to the point where you're going over the edge where finasteride is not going to protect you anymore. So I'm not willing to take that risk. Maybe when I'm 60 and I'm really seeing that my body is going to shit, then I'll do it. But at this point in my life, no, I'm not willing to do it. So, George, I'd be very careful.
Hey, when I was in college, I see this guy Billy. He's like busting everybody's balls in there in the talks, the chat thing. Everything's all bullshit. See, this is all bullshit.
Who's saying that?
I don't know who this guy is, but he's this guy Billy in the chat room. But he's like really negative about everything. I don't know what the hell this guy's deal is.
Well, whatever, he's got the right to be negative, whatever he wants.
Exactly. George is misinformed about what? I don't know what these fucking people are talking about. Yeah. But anyway, back to when I was in college. Granted, this was a million years ago. This was in the early '80s. I had a buddy of mine when I grew up. One of his frat brothers and roommates was winning all the local bodybuilding competitions, and this guy went on local television with his face in the shadows, and everybody knew who the hell he was. You know, even his voice going through the scrambler, talking to the local news media guys, and about how if you didn't take roids, you were the smallest guy on stage. Everybody knew who was roids and who wasn't. Of course, I never touched any of that crap. Couldn't care less. I was not into the bodybuilding. I was in martial arts.
Right.
So no, it's not a gay story. 1261. Shut the fuck up,
dude. Don't even read the forum. Just talk. You're on the show.
Yeah, good point. Good point. So this guy was like, oh, you know, if you don't take roids, you're the smallest guy on stage. And he said, I promised my mom I would have regular liver enzyme tests to make sure that I wasn't getting in trouble. Blah blah blah. Well, you know, I could walk up and just punch this guy in the pecs. It felt like you were punching granite. I mean, he was incredibly ripped.
Yeah.
But you know what? A few years after college, I had not seen this guy in years. I went to New Orleans, over there to the aquarium and down on the touristy area, and I ran into this dude with a current girlfriend. And he had come off the juice. His body had shrunk. He had shrunken down to this normal-sized body.
Yeah.
But his eyes were all sunken in his head.
It's depressing. Yeah, I know guys like that.
He looked like shit. He looked like shit.
You can get away with like
his hair was falling out like crazy.
Yeah, you can get away with 1 or 2 cycles if you're young enough. But the guys that stay on it for a long time, that it becomes a lifestyle. I'm not saying anyone should do 1 or 2 cycles, but you know, your body will recoup from that. You know, in most cases. But the guys that are on it, and I know guys that have been on it for 5 to 10 years, you know, depending on, you know, I mean, I know one guy that was on it for almost 14 years. It destroys you. It really does. And once they start to shrink, they go into like a depression, these guys. So there's you know, the looks change. They're a mess. It's not
well,
a smart
move.
Well,
the thing was, is that in 1984, at the end of college, this guy looked incredible. And then I see him again in 94 in New Orleans. I ran into him, and he looked like he'd been to hell and back with Audie Murphy.
Yeah.
He just looked terrible. He looked like he had aged 30 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. I mean, I knew that when they came off the juice that they would shrink, but I didn't know that they would also look like they had hyper-aged.
Yeah, I would say a guy's got 1 or 2 cycles in him where he can bounce back, and I've known guys who have done that. But anyone who's been on it for extended periods of time, more than 2 or 3 years, honestly, I've seen some real... I know one guy that had severe gynecomastia. He had actually a tumor in his chest. He got off the juice, and he had to get that thing excised. And
Governor Schwarzenegger.
Well, yeah, I mean,
heart problems.
Well, I don't know if it was caused by steroids, but I mean, if you look at his body now, he's completely deflated, and you know, I mean, he had his day for sure, but it's not a great thing. It's not good for anybody. I understand. You know, listen, kids use this shit today like it's candy, and this whole anti-aging. You know, thing where, you know, the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, and you know, I was involved with them for a while. I spoke at one of their first conferences, and I definitely believe in hormone replacement when needed. But I think that a lot of guys are being sold hormone replacement at a much younger age than they really need it. And I think
they just need to bring it back to normal levels, but after they start to drop, you know, keep it at normal levels, but not anything beyond that.
Yeah, but the problem is you have to understand, once you introduce synthetic growth hormone or testosterone, your body stops producing those hormones naturally.
Well,
so,
that's the question I was going to ask. If your testosterone's low, you know, as we age, it gets low. To bring it up to a normal level, would that in effect counteract any type of hair loss that you would have that you've maintained through?
It's possible, because there are guys who start balding at an earlier age and who are maintaining it through the use of finasteride, who might exacerbate it if they start to get their testosterone back to a younger level. So that's definitely, and again, I'm not a doctor, but that's definitely a possibility. Right. I don't know what level that is. Every body is different. So it really depends on the person.
Well, there's people there's men with low testosterone. When it's that low, that's not healthy either, correct?
No, that's not healthy. And you know, sometimes you know you could have I mean, there's all different types of health issues if your hormones are not in the right balance. However, you have to understand that once you start to supplement your body with these synthetic hormones, that your body does not produce the hormones naturally anymore. So you are basically addicted to this. Now, that's what happens when guys who are taking with guys who are taking steroids. What happens is their natural production of these hormones begin to shut down. If you're young enough, when you stop, you'll begin to produce them again. But you kind of go into your body goes into a depression type of a state, and so does your mind because of everything that's happening in your body. It's something that at your age, George, once you start, you have to realize that you're not going to be able to stop.
Which is probably what you said. Of course, we know that vigorous exercise will boost HGH and testosterone levels naturally. Whether or not it'll bring it up to the proper level, I don't know.
George, I was told, and you've studied this more than probably any of us, that heavy weightlifting will kick in your growth hormone. Is that in your natural testosterone?
Yeah, vigorous exercise will stimulate secretion of human growth hormone.
This is like the AARP show at this point. Listen, I got to take a break. 888-659-3727. 888-659-3727. Give us a call here at The Bald Truth. We'll be right back after this.
Father of consumer hair loss education.
You bloody little Jesus!
Spencer David Kobren.
Hey guys, welcome back. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. Give us a call here at The Bald Truth. Sex life and hair loss, that's what this show is all about. Sounds bizarre, but hey, deal with it. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Let me pot all these guys down. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
This is Marcus from New York City, and I'm definitely uncomfortable in my own skin. And I'm man enough to admit it.
Well, good for you, man. How are you, Marcus?
Hey, I'm pretty good because, honestly, I got to confess to all you guys, I'm on the juice.
You are on the juice.
I'm on the juice.
All right, so what are you taking?
I'm taking pussy juice.
Good for you, man.
I got to tell you, there is nothing better. Honestly, guys, put the syringe down. I'm serious. Like the other night, I got lucky, and I got to tell you, you wake up the next morning, you go outside, you're disheveled and you're unshaven and so forth, but people, they look at you because they know that you've had a great time.
Yeah, it's not the walk of shame at our point in life.
No.
Yeah.
No. And you've got like this extra rouge in your face because your blood has been pumping all night long and so forth. I mean, it's just, come on. That's all I can say.
Well, I agree, but I don't think George is in the position where he's got that type of juice.
Oh, come on. Everybody's been talking because you've been able to verify it for us, Spence, that this is a good-looking guy, man.
It has nothing to do with look. I'm going to pot George up. George, is this you? George, you there? George hung up. He's a great-looking guy. The guy was a former model, but he is a germaphobe, and he has intimacy issues because of his hair loss.
A germaphobe? Hey, I look at it in the other direction. When you're exposed, it builds your immune system.
I agree.
This is the way resistance works.
I agree. As long as it's not, HIV or hepatitis C, it's a high five as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, here's another thing, and maybe you guys can help me out because I'm of a different generation. Most of you are, much younger creatures. But here's the deal. This girl I was with was giving me problems about manscaping.
Really?
Is that hygienic to begin with? I mean, I thought the whole, point of pubic hairs and so forth was...
Oh, she was saying that she wanted you to manscape.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, we're children of the 70s. You're a little older than I am, and, the bush is not something that most young people appreciate, admire, or even understand. So
Okay.
I certainly, I think most people, women completely, are doing the landscaping situation. Maybe they have a little Hitler mustache or the landing strip
Right.
at most.
Right.
A lot of times it's just a wood floor situation. But, the hardwood floor. But guys, we have to manscape at this point. For sure.
Yeah, but first of all, is that sanitary to do time and time again? Because don't you need those pubic hairs to ward off what could be some infections and so forth?
I maybe that is true, but I certainly know that if you do manscape in certain regions at a certain angles, things tend to look a lot larger as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Intriguing. But, I mean, because here's the other thing. Let's be honest, man. We're also freaked out to shave our heads. I mean, that's like a whole nother head to shave.
I agree. This is probably a little TMI, but I am in that area for sure. I definitely manscape.
Okay, tell me this then. Are we talking manual or electric?
Electric.
Wow.
But I don't manscape to the bone. I do not manscape to the bone. That I don't dig. Just, there's no need for the, for the Meadowlark lemon, if you know what I mean, down there.
Yeah. Okay, so you're not going chrome dome. You're just going. All right. This is. You know what? I hate to say this because this is like the only place I can get this kind of quality information, Spencer.
Well, I appreciate that. That's what I do.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
Lastly, for George, because I asked George to do some research.
Let me see. George, is this you?
Hello.
Hey, George. Marcus wants to talk to you.
Let me turn down the internet here. Did I hear my friend Marcus on there?
Yes. Yeah, you did.
Okay, I'm fine. I got this thing muted out. Marcus, it's good to hear your voice, man. You always bring such an interesting topics to the to the forefront. It's good to hear your voice.
Hey, I'm just trying to compete with all you young studs. Now, George.
Yes, sir.
The last time we spoke, I mentioned C. buckthorn, omega-7.
Yes, you did.
Any information your way on that?
No, to be honest with you, no. The only thing I have heard of late about the omega-3s is that, the more like the mixtures, but Dr. Oz was a couple of days ago did a special segment on promoting people who are vegans actually using some of these new omega algae complexes, because as he points out, of course, we know the omega-3s, as he pointed out to the audience, they're not synthesized by the fish, of course. They're synthesized by golden algae, by diatoms, which are then consumed up the food chain by phytoplankton. By zooplankton, and then up the food chain by krill, and then the fish and all that. So he was promoting that for as an alternative for people who didn't want the fishy burp back and who didn't really want to consume fish products. So
I find that hard to believe.
Go ahead, George.
You find what hard to believe?
I didn't say that.
Oh, was that you, Marcus?
No, that wasn't me. Someone else rang in.
I find that hard to believe.
Who is saying that?
Where is that coming from?
Guys, come on! It's a radio show.
It's Spencer screwing with us with his little button.
I hear you. Well, we'll get on this. C. buckthorn has omega-3, 6, and 7, and I've been using it now for about a month. It tastes a little bit like, if you get the juice rather than the standardized extract, it tastes a little bit like bitter apricot. So for some people, it would be unpleasant, but I can tolerate it. And I must say, it changes the texture of the hair.
Oh, by the way...
I'm definitely going to look into this because I'm looking at it now online. Sorry, Spencer.
By the way, Marcus, I was talking to Joe Greco, and we were talking about you a little bit.
Oh, nice.
And tell me, how's things going since the last PRP treatment?
They've been good. I will say this. the effects were not as noticeable or dramatic the second time around as the first. However, having said that, I have had no shed up to this point after the second round, and I'm pretty gratified with the way it's progressing. The texture is good, the feel and the softness is generally good, and it seems as if there are fewer, or put it this way, less expansive bare open spots than before.
Oh, that's impressive, man. Let me ask you a question. Did you ever meet Val?
Yes, in his office.
Well, I think I need to let you know that Val actually passed away today.
Oh, get out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
And she was sick for a long time, on and off, and I'm not going to get into any specifics out of respect for Val, but she was a wonderful, wonderful, kind woman that had a difficult life, and she was only 41 years old.
Oh, man, that really, that's heartbreaking, because, that whole office is so not only cordial, but they're so affable too.
Oh, yeah.
They really make you feel comfortable. And and Barbara, she's a little bit of a loose cannon at the front desk.
She's pretty interesting, yeah.
She is. But you know what? Again, they kind of take down the barriers, because you walk into some of these offices, it can be intimidating.
Sure.
But they do not make you feel that way. And
Well, you got to understand, I've been to most of these places around the country, so I get to meet the staff, and I know these people, and at this point, I don't work directly with Joe Greco, but, Joe's someone that I really, really respect for what he's done over the years. And, I had met Val. She's a very, very kind woman. She was kind to one of my family members who I sent down to see Joe, and it breaks my heart. It really does. And I was telling Joe at the beginning of the broadcast that it really puts things into perspective. This is a 41-year-old woman who died today. Who died. She doesn't have the opportunity to fight, any battles tomorrow, or to deal with the bullshit that we have to deal with. Those opportunities are gone. She's dead.
Well, I will send him a note, but likewise. I went down there simply because I was in Florida, because I had a relative who was fighting for her life, which she eventually lost.
So is this your sister, right?
Yes, my sister.
I'm so sorry. When did she pass?
On the longest night of the year, December 21st, 2000.
Man,
sorry for your loss.
I'm really sorry for your loss,
Marcus.
man.
I appreciate that. But the only reason I went down to Florida, and the only reason I ended up meeting Greco really was because I was going in and out of there to help her. As I explained to you, I was changing diapers for much of last year.
I know.
Because her situation was so dire. In any event, you put it in such correct perspective, because one thing I will say about my sister, in her darkest hour, and she had some really scary, lonely times, and when you're by yourself at night in a hospital, and you're just thinking of your, imminent death, that can be, very frightening. However, in those moments, man, she and I had some tremendous laughs together that I never would have expected. And so to Joe and to everyone else, hair loss sucks. We know that, but seriously, there's more to life than just what's on your head.
Well, listen, on that note, I'm going to close up shop. Marcus, thank you so much for calling in. And I think that's a tremendous message for everyone who's listening and watching the show tonight. And I just want to, I guess dedicate the show to Val, because she was a wonderful, wonderful woman. And I'm so sad that she's left this world. And
she was not only wonderful; she was so warm too. That whole office is warm. It's Florida, and it's also their personality. I mean, wow! Thanks for at least relaying that information, because I will reach out to him tomorrow.
All right, I think that would be great. Listen, Marcus, thanks for the call. George, thank you so much. Let me pot these guys up and say goodnight to everybody. Joe, thank you so much. Johnny, Ohio.
Can I have a final word, man, please?
Yes, go ahead.
If my wife ever calls you and tells you I left this world, Don't feel so bad. I'll be out of my freaking pain.
That never happens, Joe.
I hope that never happens, Joe. Listen, Johnny, thanks a lot for the call. Joe, have a great night, man. Websites, thebaldtruth.com, IHRS.org for the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, which is our for-profit consumer organization. Remember, all members of the IHRS pay an annual screening fee of $12,000. If you're a woman dealing with hair loss, check out womenshairlossproject.com and, of course, AmericanHairLoss.org. Until next time, please, I want you all to be strong. God bless, and thank you so much for listening. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you guys.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you.